the lifelong practice of taking a beat. Just a couple of breaths before responding and starting the talk out that way today. Okay, rapid fire questions, part 1. What do you mean when you say sitting in your own mess? Without context, it's hard to answer this, but I'm sure I was probably referring to sitting with the discomfort, the uncomfortable feelings, the pain, the confusion, the chaos, and not reacting so completely. Moving a little bit more towards responding and less towards reacting. Which is why I'm trying to take some deep breaths right now, because I had some crazy morning stuff happen. So that's what I mean by not being so reactive. Just sit with it. We create our own messes. That's taking full responsibility for what you have going on and just holding it or being with it. Then you can let it go a little more easily or respond from a place of more grounding. If that makes sense, that's probably what I meant. What is the difference between dyskinesia and bradykinesia? Dyskinesia is that rapid sort of circular motion of jerking around like someone's spinning you from inside or shaking you with a handle from the inside. That's usually caused by our medications in Parkinson's that help us move. Like the agonists we take, they have that side effect. And the bradykinesia is a slowness of movement, like a robotic movement, almost like slow, like Tim Conway's slow walk across the floor of the old man. It's more of a cogwheeling effect where you get kind of stuck. Or you go to take those steps and you shuffle along when you try to go around a corner or do a pivot. And you're very stiff. You're just super slow. You feel like you're in wet cement. That's what it feels like for me. And I know every patient's different, but I'm pretty sure we could agree that bradykinesia sucks and dyskinesia sucks. If you're in public or on a plane or on a bus and you're jerking around like this and you have to sit on your hands and you can't stop moving, it's very difficult. It also isolates people. And then the bradykinesia prevents us from getting out of the house at all. Sometimes it takes me an hour just to pull on some pants and tie my shoes and get to the car. If I can even drive that day. Always have to check in on that too, And then getting from wherever you park to the next location, it's a lot to ask a person with a degenerative disease to do that quickly. And the more you rush it, the harder it will be. The more that your dyskinesia and your bradykinesia will be jacked up. So that's my scientific explanation of the two. What do you mean by Wu Wei? Oh, the person typed WOOWAY, and I was talking about WUWEI, like as in Wee Wu Wei. It's a Taoist term for effortless inaction to go through or around something. Rather than imposing your will on the mountain, say there's a mountain in front of you, going through the mountain or over the mountain or under the mountain, or trying to push the mountain out of the way, we just go around it like water. Following the path of least resistance, we have more energy for other things. So if whatever you choose to put your energy into is where you're going to have the drain. Hopefully that's in the management of your symptoms and disease so that you don't affect yourself and others in any negative way. But sometimes we have to put our energies into other things like raising children, running a household, putting food on the table. The usual fun stuff. We all have responsibilities and they don't recuse us from doing the life's work of responsibilities. So young onset can be really tough. Young onset Parkinson's. All Parkinson's can, but we have a lot going on. Inherent in a changing, shifting world is our restlessness, insecurity, and rage. What does this quote mean? I just read this in your work. I don't remember saying that. If I did, it's probably a ripoff from a great spiritual teacher such as Pema Chodron or Ram Dass or maybe even Anne Lamott or I don't know. Probably what I mean is, read that one more time. Oh, okay. I'm probably talking about the frustration of the ever-changing world of Parkinson's, meaning like hour by hour, we don't know how we will find our bodies. We have to grossly overcompensate just to catch up with a world that is not built for people with disability at all. It's quite ableist. Even sometimes the language that people use without realizing it is ableist. And I don't want to point anybody out because nobody does these things on purpose. I did it before I had Parkinson's. I just didn't consider that some people don't have the same capabilities. But keep in mind that we're completely alert and aware and we know what's going on. Just because we're moving slower doesn't mean that we don't want to participate. So if the doorway is too narrow and we can't get through it with our wheelchair or a walker, or if we don't have rails for assistance, we can't go to these places. If I don't know how I'm going to get my body into a vehicle and out of a vehicle and up the stairs, and let's say it's raining and forget the nice shoes, I'm just talking flat shoes, we have to adapt constantly, and it makes you angry. You feel kind of ripped off. You feel like your timeline went lower and smaller and you get quieter. And so there's a restlessness there because you feel like your time's running out. Tick-tock, you better hurry up and get everything in. All of life's pleasures and joys and legacies and purposes all have to come at once. So it is beyond frustrating. I'm imagining that's what I meant without context. That's the best I can do. But like I said, I'm sure that I ripped off at least part of that quote from someone who's my teacher. So I hope they'll forgive me. And also, I have a DOG who's waiting for a WALK, and I spell that because he can not only spell, but he recognizes like 500 words. This one back here is pretty cool. He's had more patience than I've ever had. And I better get going and take care of him. And when I take a deep breath, I can even speak more clearly because the breath and the diaphragmatic breathing get messed up. The swallowing becomes a problem. Parkinson's requires us to slow down. We can't do what we used to. I'm finally realizing this. Really gets on my nerves. But Parkinson's really gets on my nerves. Thanks for the shirt, by the way.